We are about to go.
Hello.
How's everyone doing?
Good. My cat will leave me alone.
Does anyone know how I can fix my camera? Because I feel some lines.
I don't. It doesn't give me any options to help you. Let me see.
I have no idea.
Let me see if this works.
She might have to go out and come back in again completely, maybe.
Yeah. I can try that.
Yeah. You know, like start again sort of thing.
Yeah, I was acting up. I'll wait for her to come back before we start because I don't want to start without her.
That's a really tall cat tower.
Technical difficulties.
That's the biggest cat I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I know.
Really tall.
My cats love that.
How many cats do you have? Katie?
Oh, 2.
2?
Can you see? She's like here.
Oh yes.
Show your face. That's better.
Oh, nice. Oh. Cute.
Come visit. I don't know. All right. Nicole. Oh, I feel so bad that her camera wasn't working. Oh my gosh, my cats are crying. Calm down, ladies.
So where are we all in the world?
I'm in Northern Ireland.
Northern
Belfast.
Ireland.
I'm in Belfast.
Super cool. Sabrina, where are you?
I'm from Michigan, in the lower part, right next to Ohio. So.
You say Michigan?
Yep.
Oh, okay, cool. I didn't hear that right. And then Katie, where are you from?
I'm from England.
England. Super cool. I'm in
Like
Las
the south
Vegas
of
right
England.
now.
You're from
South
where?
of England? South England?
Ooh.
The
From
south
all-
of England, like near the bottom, near the coast.
That's awesome.
You're from
South
where?
England? South England? I'm in Las Vegas.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, super jealous.
Oh, me too. It is so cold here.
No, I've never been there. I've only been to New York. That's the only place I've been in America so far. If we could get traveling again, then I would love to come over to maybe LA or Las Vegas or somewhere. Definitely.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Mm.
I don't live right like in downtown or anything, so it's nice to be able to be away from it and also drive and get there. So
Brilliant. That's fab, isn't it? I wonder. She says she's backstage, is she?
Oh, it's here.
Nicole's ready to be added.
Yeah.
there we go.
Wonder.
Woo!
Hi.
Yay!
Where are you,
So
Nicole?
happy.
We just kind of talked about where everyone is.
Oh, so I'm from Mexico.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
lovely. Oh,
Yay!
it's a real mix, isn't it?
I love it.
Good.
Okay. Does everyone do like a brief introduction? Like we did where we're from, like, I don't know, hobbies or whatever. Just like a little introduction, get to know each other. Whoever wants to start, I don't care.
Okay, well, I'm Allison. I like reading, of course. I mainly focus on fantasy, sci-fi, sometimes horror novels. I also like playing board games, so I'm a nerd through and through, and I work teaching at a high school for history.
Oh, that's so cool.
That's yeah, that's
I'm
good.
teaching right now, but I'll graduate in April.
Yay! Not long.
Yeah, not long.
Okay, well, I'm Barbara. I'm from Belfast in Northern Ireland. Currently, we're in lockdown for the next 2 weeks, so I've just been reading and I have a cockapoo, 2-year-old cockapoo, Novak, just taking him out on walks and stuff. Love having just movie nights, chill time, self-care, baths, all that sort of thing, just while you're stuck indoors, But usually I like to go to the cinema or just shopping or spending lots of money and that sort of thing. So yeah, that's about. I work as the communications and engagement officer for the local government here in Belfast. So I work on all the social media side of things. So I do the Twitter updates and Facebook and Instagram and stuff for the executive here in Belfast. So it's very exciting. It's very good. That's me.
Okay, so I like to read mainly fantasy, and I also started to read a lot of new adult romance lately. This was actually like my first horror. I don't really read like thrillers or mystery or horror. I just have never really given them a chance, and I'm glad I did. And I guess I'm studying chemical engineering. I'm in my third year right now, and I don't know where I want to work, but we'll see in the future.
Well, I'm Katie. I'm from south of England, and other than reading, I like playing video games on the console. I'm quite into creative writing as well, and I work as a support worker, looking after people with mental difficulties like autism and all of that. So even though we are in lockdown at the moment, I still go to work because obviously they're vulnerable, they need looking after. So yeah, ever since the whole COVID, I've been working, hasn't stopped. So yeah, that's me.
Well, hello. I'm Silvia. My job is I am a pharmacy technician at a hospital, so I've been working too. I feel ya. It's been a rough couple months. I read a little bit of everything, but I've been really into thrillers lately. That's all I've been reading. I don't know what my deal is. I've been buying way too many of them, so. And I am a junior in college. I'm studying English elementary literature to teach K through 8th grade, but my goal is 8th grade English. But we'll see where the road takes us, really. All right.
Brilliant, real mix.
All right, so book. I guess I don't know.
I can't show you my copy. I lent mine out to pretty much everybody I knew. So
Nicole, you said that this is your first horror book ever?
Yeah. That's interesting.
So you ended up liking it? Was it a good introduction, or did you, I don't know, what did you think of it?
In high school, I read The Turn of the Screw. I don't remember the author, but that was like the only book similar to this one that I've ever read, but it was for school. So like reading something like out of like pleasure or because I wanted to, this is my very first time, and I'm glad that this was like my first horror novel because I really enjoyed it. And I think what I liked the most about it was knowing that the author is Mexican, and I just love the whole aspect of how it was set in Mexico. And I feel like even though we don't get to see a lot of like the culture in the book, I still feel like there were a lot of things that were mentioned regarding to like Mexico and its culture. So I really like that, and I just feel like the creepy vibes and everything like does kind of sound similar to like a small town in Mexico. I don't know. It was a really nice introduction.
That's
and
really cool.
I feel like it was a bit weird at times. Like I didn't know what to expect. It was just like something that I'm not used to reading. But overall, I really enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah, I feel like there are some like more Mexican cultural aspects at the very beginning of the book before she kind of gets to the estate. And then since it's like an Englishman's estate in Mexico, it kind of like there's less of it as the book goes on. I actually lived in Mexico for 18 months, so it was kind of fun seeing some of those like cultural things. And yeah, I liked that. But I kind of almost wish there was like a bilingual edition where it like switches over. That would have been cool too. But this is fine.
I think it's really interesting though too, because we don't see very many books like set in Mexico.
No.
I don't know. I think it was really nice to see like the new setting like that, because I know I have not ever read a book set in Mexico.
No, I was very intrigued by it when I obviously read that it was, because as you say, Sabrina, you don't get very many of them at all. So it was nice to just, it was a bit refreshing, wasn't it,
And correct me if I'm wrong, but they throw some Spanish in there towards the beginning, don't they?
Yeah, because they talk in Spanish here and there, don't they?
I like that because I don't read very many books with like anything other than English thrown in, so I like that.
Yeah.
I don't remember that, but you might be right.
So we'll do our ratings then, do you think, or
the what?
The ratings? I know. See, I told you my accent. The ratings.
No, ratings. Half the time
No, you're fine. You're fine. People don't understand me at the best of times, Sabrina. Don't worry about it. Even people from Belfast don't understand me. Oh dear. Oh, I'm in Egypt.
Well, it's awesome. We all have different accents. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like multicultural in this book club.
Yeah. Nice, isn't it?
Like different points of views from like our experiences, like not only like culturally, but like I don't know, we're all very different, which is nice.
Yeah, definitely. And you're all lovely. These are all lovely girls.
Oh,
lovely.
You make me blush.
So let's talk like more about the book too. One of my favorite elements in it was like, a lot of stories like this, I feel like rely on ghosts and spirits and things like that to haunt the house. And I really loved how in this book it kind of took on like the element of fungus and mold and rot, and like this weird, creepy. What did they end up calling it in the book? It was like do you remember?
I can't even remember.
The glue,
I think.
The glue, was it? Yeah.
We have like a bunch of fungus, and I thought that was like
it was like dark goop or something.
To change a ghost story and make it a little bit different. What do you guys think of that?
I just sort of felt like from the very start of the book, I felt anxious and it felt creepy almost. It felt you were almost anxious and waiting for something to happen. If that makes sense, it was. I think the tension was just built in such a good way, because obviously the writing, the way it was written and stuff. But I just felt anxious and creeped out a wee bit, and I loved it. I just thought it was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Mm-hmm.
Definitely, there were some points when I was reading it where I had to like step back and like reread because I was like, "What?" Like when they introduced the gloom, I was like, "Wait, what happened?"
Yeah.
I guess I didn't expect for it to turn out to be that way. I don't know. I just figured that it was going to be a bit different. And then when we found out like everything, I was like, how? It was just very confusing. But I was reading it last night and like, I'm really scared. Like I get scared super quickly. And I don't know, like every time that she would like have dreams, I would just like turn on the light for a bit because I don't know, it was kind of creepy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dream scenes were very sort of creepy. Like it literally felt like, whoa, what is going on?
And not just creepy, I also was like, is this real? Is this actually happening? Like I kind of lost sense of reality myself as she was kind of losing her sense of reality, and I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, because like with all the dreams, like you didn't know, like, I mean, for me, I was just like, wait, is this happening? Like the scene where like the guy kissed her, like the old guy kissed her, I was just like,
oh yeah,
is this happening or is this a dream? I was like, it creeped me out like so much. I was like,
Virgil goes into her bathtub or like grabs her.
I was just about to say that, the bathtub scene. I was like, hold on, Hopefully that's a dream, you know. I hope that's a dream. It's not a nice dream, but you know. Yeah.
No, definitely had the creeper factor. Like, oh.
I liked in that one too how she was like, I didn't want this, and she knows she didn't want that, but she also like part of her actually enjoyed it, and I liked how it was kind of like split her desires into two in a way, rather than making it like really simple. It complicated it a little bit. I liked that.
Yeah. And I was just going to ask something interesting near the end of the book, where obviously Francis and Noemi and Catalina were trying to get away, so they're making their escape in essence. And I felt as if until they actually escaped, I still felt that Francis was in on it and wasn't going to.
Yeah, I had a feeling. I was like,
yeah,
I was sort of thinking like, you know, has this transition actually happened? That would have been really cool if it did. Like, because the ending to me, like, I don't know, it felt too happy. Like,
I didn't like it.
Yeah, it seemed too easy or something, didn't it?
Yeah, like I was reading it and I was just like, you know what? It would have been so good to have a little twist. Like, I don't know, the glint of his eyes shows the fungi or mushrooms, and then it'd be like, dun dun dun. Yeah. I was like,
like it because like the whole time he's saying, "Oh, I'm not going to be able to make it out of the house as easily as you guys because I've been here longer and I'm part of it." And then they all leave, and he just takes like an extra day to recover, and he's fine.
Yeah.
It would have been better if, even if he was like ended up being a good guy, it would have been better if like he wasn't able to make it out. He was just too caught up with it. I don't know.
Yeah, I definitely sort of hinted like it was still in him somewhere in the end. Like that I definitely would have.
Yeah, literally, I just felt like until it actually happened, he was going to turn and say, "Oh no, actually, I'm keeping you here," or he was part of, the story. Basically, I just had I don't know. I love that though. Love that. I really enjoy that in a book.
He was definitely back and forth as a character though, because at the beginning I was like, okay, he's a good guy, like he just wants to help her, and then all of a sudden it was like, just kidding, no, he's not, and then we went back to the good guy, and I was like, what are you doing with this?
Yeah, I don't like the very ending. I will say I did like the twist at the end where what's the old guy's name? The guy that keeps reincarnating. Well, he was
Howard.
Yeah.
And we were assuming he was going to go into Virgil's body, but then he actually tries to go into Francis's body. That I thought was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that as well.
He was trying to marry Francis to Noemi so that he could end up being married to her. So I don't know. I thought that was interesting, but that wasn't quite the very end, but I did like that part.
Yeah, because that was quite twisted.
I think what was like really weird to me was how they were all related. How they, I think they mentioned that, is it Agnes?
Yeah, Agnes and Ruth.
That they were sisters, and then they were married to their brother. Did I understand that correctly? Or I don't know how it was, or cousins. I don't know what they were, but they were related to each other.
Yeah.
And everyone in the family was related to each other. And it just kind of like, I just don't really understand why at the end they wanted to include Naomi and the other girl, Catalina. I don't know. Like, I don't understand what made them change their mind.
I think it was because they were having problems with like birth defects from doing it in their family for too long, so they needed like a new line to help out with that.
They needed.
I think there was a very slight mention of it, like somewhere near the end. It was like there was just too many birth problems going on, so they had to like bring someone in that they were like, oh, they're beautiful, they're pretty, they're wealthy, and they'll bear good children.
Wedding dresses were really creepy. When she has to put on the wedding dress, it's already been worn by a bunch of other women who also didn't want to wear it, and then they have all the portraits of the women up on the wall. It's kind of, I don't know, I thought that part was very ominous.
Definitely.
Yeah. I feel almost that the writing was so good that you actually felt as if you were in that high place with them, if that makes sense. You were almost like Noemi, you were living it with her, which is why I just love the book so much.
I like following the investigation along with her. That's why, because it's quite slow paced, because she's discovering it all, and I quite like books that are like that, like when you're sort of a detective along with Naomi, like you're a sidekick in a way, and like you're just, you know, as she's going into the town and finding out like about like why doesn't this doctor go visit her cousin and things like that, and I was like, ooh, like why does nobody ever leave that house? And
Or the alternative medicine lady too. I really liked her.
We didn't see enough of her.
Yeah.
I know. There's see more. I don't know what it was, but like her little tincture, her little like medicine that helped them be able to not be influenced as much by the gloom. That was kind of a cool aspect. I like how they chose like the local alternative medicine lady to give the kind of the cure to allow them to escape. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that definitely is something that's part of the Mexican culture, because it's something that like a lot of us believe in, and how like I guess like herbs and like plant medicine, is it what it's called? I'm not really sure, but basically like it's just something that we truly believe in. So I really like that it was incorporated in how that was kind of like what got them out of the house. So I
it
really
wasn't
like
just
that.
something that was made up. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right, Nicole. It was like a cool cultural element that, because you know, throughout the entire book, it shows a lot of English culture because it's an English estate. But I really appreciated those little kind of Mexican cultural aspects that were kind of weaved throughout the book, even though it wasn't as much of the main focus as I expected it to be. I did like when it did show up.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I'm the same. Yeah.
Did any of you ever get confused with names and be like, wait, who's this person again? Like, was this the son? Is this the guy?
Francis
like
and
Virgil?
Florence. I got confused between the lady Florence and then Francis for like the first half of the book. So yeah.
Yeah, I was just like Howard. I couldn't remember Howard. Florence as well now and then definitely Virgin and Francis. I got those two confused. Like one moment I was like, why was she talking to Virgil? And then the name would be like Francis, and I'm like, oh, why is it now Francis? And I just got so confused between the names.
I was listening to the audiobook, but then I had to switch to the ebook because I was getting so confused, and I was like, no, I actually need to read this and pay like close attention because the names were just like so confusing. But then I guess when I switched to the ebook version, I kind of understood better like the names and everything that was going on. So I feel like the narration of the ebook of the audiobook was okay, but it wasn't the best. So like I wouldn't recommend listening to the audiobook.
Yeah, there's just some books where it's really tough to understand what's happening when you're listening to it. I agree.
Yeah.
I didn't write an audiobook, so I don't know if it would have worked for me, but some books I definitely feel the same way.
Yeah, sometimes I think it goes in a bit better when you're listening to the audiobook and reading it at the same time. Yeah, so sometimes it just sticks a bit more because you're listening to it, you're reading it with your eyeballs and then you're hearing it, you know. So I think sometimes that helps too. If you're really struggling with a book, that really helps.
Did you do that with one?
I was going to say, so what was everyone's final rating on the book?
Oh, can you guess? Can you guess?
Yeah, I think for me it was 4 as well.
I was sort of toying between 4 and 4.5. I was trying to think, like, had to really, really think about, like, did I really like it? Was it atmospheric? You know, did it keep me reading and that sort of thing? And then I was just like, if it wasn't for the ending, I think it probably would have been like a 5-star for me. But I just, in the end, I went for like 4.5. I was like, you know, I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, it was a good book.
It's still a book that I'd recommend. It's definitely gothic and creepy. I have to really think, would I ever read it again? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah.
Yeah, I totally get where some people are divided on ratings and what they would, you know, how they would speak about the book. You know, I think it's one of those where you either really enjoy it or you really don't like it at all. I don't think there's a common ground of someone who just read it and went, oh, it was okay. Yeah, it was fine. You know, I think you either really like it or you don't. You know.
Yeah, it's one of those sort of Marmite books. Because when I was looking on Goodreads just before this, like there's like 2.5s, there's 3s, there's 4s, there's 5s. It's like all over the place. So
what
I
did
think
you
it's
rate
just.
it, Sabrina? I was just saying, what did you rate it? I don't think I saw.
I rated it a 3.5.
Okay.
I don't know. For me, when I read, the ending is like my rating.
Mm.
And I was so iffy about this ending. Like, they could have done it so much better, but so mine was a 3.5. I mean, I still really enjoyed it.
Yeah, because you struggled near the beginning, didn't you? You were like, "Oh, guys, does this
At the
get
beginning,
better?"
I was like, this is so slow, but you guys mentioned earlier that, yeah, it was slow in the beginning, and I was like, what's going to happen? And then we got to 75, and I was like, okay. And then I was enjoying it, and then we hit the last like chapter or two, and I was like,
Okay.
so yeah, I know. I wish that was the big thing for me at the ending was I wish they would have mentioned like the gloom coming back or something. Even if they never do a second book, I think that would have been something to like, I
Yeah.
don't know what you think. And that's what I
For me, if it just got Francis, that would not Francis. See the wait, yeah, Francis. Yeah, those
Yeah,
are the
Francis.
If it got Francis, I would have been more satisfied with the ending.
Yeah. What about you, Ali? What did you rate it, or what did you think?
I rated it a 4 out of 5, and it's the same. Like I was weighting like the entire book pretty highly too, so I wasn't just rating it based off the
Yeah.
end.
Yeah,
But it was mainly the ending that brought it down for me, and a couple other like nitpicky elements. But you don't even need to talk about those; they weren't a big deal. It was mainly just the ending.
Yeah, so I was sort of going to ask everyone then what was a negative that you would give of the book, because we've really enjoyed it so far, and it's all been very positive, if you know what I mean. So I'm wondering, do you have any negatives at all other than the ending? Obviously, could have been better. Can you think of anything?
I have one. So for me, like you learned earlier that I'm like really into history, so I kind of feel like the historical perspective in the book was a little bit more of like the modern perspective on what that time period was like, rather than the characters really feeling like they lived in that time period. For me, just it was very nitpicky. There's like lines here and there that made me think like, is this really how they talk about it? Like there's one
Yeah.
line where he's like, oh, I'm not able to vote or things like this or vote yet, and I was like, okay, I feel like that's more like a modern way of us thinking about that time period, and didn't really feel authentic for her to bring up in the situation she was in, and that just happened a couple times. But not a big deal. That's a really nitpicky thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were a couple of times where I had to really think, like, is this like based in the like early 1900s? Because the dialogue's really, really up to date,
Yeah, exactly.
So I had to keep looking, like, is it like 1930s? Because it's like
What was
it's
it?
10, I don't know, 5 years ago or something.
I know. I feel like I could have researched just a little bit better before she wrote out some of those lines.
And then when they
Yeah.
mentioned like the candles and using the old style stuff, I was like, okay, this is more like olden times.
Yeah.
But then, yeah, just how they speak, is just like it's really modern.
Yeah, almost take it with a grain of salt.
I mean, not that I complain, because obviously it makes it easier to understand with the modern talk.
Yeah, and I didn't read this for historical accuracy anyway. I read it for the horror story. So because of that, I don't really care about that aspect. But it did come up in my head a couple times. Like, this is a little off for that. Anyone else?
I think for me, what I didn't really like was, I guess, going into the book expecting to see a lot more of Mexico, and then ending up being in an estate with English people. So I guess I thought that the book was going to be, like, the setting was going to be a little bit different. So I guess that really like disappointed me a bit. But it's not such a big deal for me to not like the book at all. Like, I did really enjoy it, but I would have loved to see more of Mexico. I don't know. I just feel like all the
I feel like it was marketed that way.
Yeah. So like all the hype, it was like, oh, a horror novel set in Mexico. And okay, I was thinking, okay, we're going to get to see a lot of the Mexican culture and the place and everything. But we didn't really get to see that. I also didn't feel like they described the place or anything like Mexico, in regards to Mexico. So I don't know. It just had me a little bit, I don't know, like the setting, it didn't really sit right with me. And especially, like I said, going into the book expecting it to be like in Mexico. I don't know. It just kind of like confused me a bit. Okay,
Yeah,
we
because
have
I
a
feel like they
common.
described the estate really well, but they didn't describe like the town that well. There's like, oh, there's a doctor and an alternative medicine lady and a church. That's pretty much all I got about the town.
Definitely, because I think especially with Mexican culture, like I feel like they should have focused a little bit more when she went into town to like help us like visualize the town.
Yeah, definitely.
Like
Yeah.
helping visualize that town versus the estate. She really focused on that English estate versus the Mexican countryside, where obviously it's said.
Yeah.
I agree with you, Nicole. It was, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I agree. Yeah. We have a comment as well. Yay.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hi, Kelsey.
Hi.
So I guess she also agrees with the setting shift, and I felt like a lot of people would agree on that because it was just like so expected, and then it like we didn't really get to see it. But I'm okay with it. Like overall, I feel like it's okay.
I just wish it was marketed that way, that we knew that we were basically looking on the English estate for the entire book. It was just marketed as Mexican Gothic and everything. So if they just changed but then they wouldn't have sold as many copies, I feel like. So I think that's why they did it, but
I definitely think
I feel like it was dishonest a little bit with that.
Because it's like, oh, a horror story set in Mexico. Amazing, never been done before. But it's like, well, not really.
Yeah, you don't read anything else on it. You're like, sold, going into it.
I think there's going to be a movie or a TV show. I don't know if y'all have seen that.
I saw on Goodreads some people saying I can't wait for the TV show. And I'm like, maybe they'll change the ending. I hope they do.
Like maybe a short series. I couldn't see how you can drag it on to be that long of a show. Is it like a short series? I don't know.
I don't know. I saw that Silvia Moreno-Garcia like posted it on her Twitter, like something. I don't know what company like acquired the rights, but I saw it like a few weeks ago, and I was like, this should be interesting because I would like to see how like the clothes and how they decorate everything. I think like it will be really cool because I didn't really get to imagine those things. I don't know if you all had like an easier time imagining everything. I don't know. I feel like the description of everything wasn't that well done. I don't know if I'm making any sense or if it was just me. But like I read a lot of fantasy, so I expect a lot of details.
Yeah, there's more
Maybe that's why.
generally.
I feel like the dreams were very descriptive.
Yeah,
but like
There's
maybe
more
not everything
comments that
else.
says that it's going to be a Hulu limited series, so that kind of answers the question.
I'm really glad it's going to be a Hulu limited series because Netflix has been butchered.
We don't get Hulu in UK. We don't have Hulu.
I think they usually like other companies acquire the rights after Hulu, maybe like a few
we get it
months.
after.
Yeah,
we get it way after, like a year after. You know, it'll not be a month; it'll be 1 year, maybe a year and a half. So, but like, can't complain with some really good TV shows. So, it's all good. Hopefully, it should be good anyway.
So, who was your favourite character?
That was my question. You stole it.
I was just reading your brain and I picked it. Maybe I'm Howard.
That would not be cool.
No, that would be a good twist. If Howard came out of the book into the reader.
And the gloom be considered a character, given that it was run by a human. I like the gloom.
Very good. My favorite, I think probably my favorite was Noemi. I thought she was very.
Yeah, I like Noemi.
As the lead female, I thought she was fantastic and very feisty and just.
She's quite outgoing, isn't she?
Yeah, I think she was the best person to go and see how her cousin was and sort of be in that sort of situation, and it was very interesting to read how she dealt with it all and that stuff. So I really, really liked her. I thought Francis was good as well. As I say, I still was waiting for him to be bad, but whilst he was really good and helping and doing bits, for her, I thought he was very good. Definitely.
Yeah, I like how he was a good friend from the start. I'd say those two like quite good, like they were sort of good friends. Like But yeah, I liked how Noemi like would smoke even though she got told not to smoke. That was quite funny.
I like that the rules ended up having a reason. So I was just thinking that they were super strict and creepy, but the reason was like to keep the gloom healthy. So I thought that ended up being interesting, that the smoke was hurting her, the gloom pulled on her.
Yeah.
Kitty!
Oh, look at the kitty.
Camera, so being held down. Yeah, but I really like Frances as well. I really am drawn to like characters who are like I'm really drawn to characters who are like they're supposed to be bad, but they're good. And I think that's what Francis was for me. So I don't know. I really rooted for him as a character. And then when I was like honestly very angry when Howard was like, just kidding, it's you. And I was like, no.
Yeah, I was like, no, don't take him away.
I need him. Yeah, but I don't know. I really liked his development through the story too, because he went from being this like, I don't know, like do what your parents say to like, this is wrong.
And
killing his mom.
Yeah, I think it was because he was a character who knew what was happening was wrong, but he couldn't get out of the house. He couldn't leave. You know, he felt as if he had to stay for his family. You know, and I think that's why I thought he was quite good as well. And he had to obviously ultimately make the decision at the end to leave. You know, so yeah, I thought that was why he was good.
And they definitely like, I know we talked about this earlier, how they mentioned that like if he would have left, like it would have been this whole like huge thing, like he would have died or whatever. And I think that might have been something that was like put in everybody's minds by Howard. I don't know, like if you leave, like you'll die. Because I know there's a book out there that I've read that does that. Like you cannot leave. Maybe it's I don't know, maybe it's A Haunting of Bly Manor after I read it, and I'm thinking of that, or after I watched that, because like if they were to leave the house, like they would die. So maybe it's kind of like that, and I think that was like just something that was put into their mind. Like if you leave, you're gonna die. And I don't know the real thing. I think that would have just been sick.
But do you think that's like a psychological thing though? Because like it's just I can't get over the fact that when he left, nothing happened to him.
Yeah,
I feel like it was, but at the same time, I want to think it wasn't just for the horror aspect. I don't know.
Because I feel like with all the maybe it was just because they like defeated the gloom in the end and like set it on fire that it like allowed him to be free. I guess that could make sense.
Right.
I'm not. I still don't like that ending, but you know, whatever.
Yes, as we say, I think we all agree it was just too easy, wasn't it?
Yeah.
After the whole book right up to that end, it just wasn't really the ending that we wanted. Sure, it wasn't. I think it was just too. Oh, okay, did that? Oh, that's what happened. You know.
I feel like it would have done a lot better.
Felt like it was easy as like a Scooby-Doo episode. Like
yeah.
They just got out.
She maybe ran out of pages to write. Maybe I don't know.
I think
it sounds like none of us are happy that they survived. No, we want something
well,
like one of them to die.
Usually in a horror, I mean, I love horror, so usually in a horror they just don't all make it out, you know?
No. I think in a horror and a thriller, you need a good twist.
It was just Francis making it out that annoyed me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Fair enough.
I think it would have been more dramatic.
Favorite character? Least favorite character?
Florence is really annoying.
I mean, Howard, definitely, because that kiss. Ugh.
I didn't like
Oh, yeah.
No. I didn't like
Virgil's definitely a close second, but
I feel like from the very beginning, I just hated him. Like, I can understand, like, his reasonings with his family of, like, secluding Catalina and whatever. Like, I can understand that. But, like, I don't know. I just didn't like his attitude.
No.
I didn't like the way he talked to like everybody in the house, not just Naomi. Like it was just everybody. I was irritated him from the second we like met him. You can go now because I didn't want to do it.
Yeah, Florence for me. And Virgil.
Yeah,
Florence was just typical.
And she was just annoying. I could just imagine being Noemi and be really annoyed by Florence, and I think that's why she was my least favorite.
Yeah, I think I probably would have given her a good shake if I had seen her, you know. Just no need for the way she was.
I think for me was
her though. Oh, like at the end when they were in Howard's room, like going through their ceremony, and she like turned into that rabid dog where she like was trying to keep everybody there and she was screaming like that just was so crazy.
I think for me it was Virgil because I think it was like in the beginning of the book when Naomi first arrives and how he mentioned something like, "Oh, you're darker than your cousin." Like the minute he said that, I was like, I don't like him. That was one thing. And then he said something else, and I think in the narration, Naomi's saying something like, "Oh, this is mildly inappropriate." It was something regarding her clothes or how she was looking or something, and I was just thinking like,
yeah, he
no,
always
it was
seemed,
gross.
he seemed very, what's the word? What do we use? Sleazy, or very I'm trying
Like a
to work out.
pervert.
Yeah, I didn't want to. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he just
Like all
didn't
those
seem like.
eugenics books, if you remember that. What do you guys think of like and then the conversation? Was it Howard that had it with her about like superior humans and like his idea of eugenics and like pseudoscience, taking it really seriously? And
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
that wasn't fun to read.
No, it was definitely a meaty book.
It was definitely it was a good book. I was just disappointed with the end.
Yeah, I think we all agree on that.
Like
We want death.
for me, give me liberty or give me death.
Give me that death. Or possession.
When I was reading it, I like now that I know that they're doing a limited series, I'm really hoping that when they do it, like they do show something like sneaky at the end that like hints at him having the gloom. Like, give me what I need, but I don't know. I don't know if they will. But I'm
Glow up mushrooms out of his eyes or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Just something to just come back. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just for you to be like, no.
Yeah, I think we mentioned that. Like the book said, like, oh, we don't know what's going to happen in the future at the end, but it still felt like happy ending, even though it's
yeah.
Even if, like the show were to end the uncertainty with some sort of like ominous, like, oh, the gloom's still kind of in him. That would be
I'd have been a bit like, oh my god, what is going to happen now? You know what is going to happen to Noemi and Catalina, because they've just literally come out of the house and he now has brought it with him. So I think that would have been, just as a reader, I think that would have been a better, as we all have agreed.
It was kind of like those romance novels at the end where they just like have to throw in a proposal in like the last 3 pages. Like that was like was for me. Like I didn't need a happy ending for this book. I didn't need it.
No, I didn't need to be a romance either.
Yeah.
I mean, but I didn't
that happy ending.
Romantic ending.
Full circle to come together. Gloom comes back. I just needed that.
Sometimes less is more, isn't it? You know.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because there was that paragraph near the end where I had to read it like at least 2 or 3 times, where it just mentioned like maybe Noemi will look into his blue eyes and there'll be this golden glow, or maybe there'll be a reflection of her own golden glow. And I'm like, no, I want a golden glow. Like,
not a maybe.
And I was like, oh no, it says maybe. It doesn't say Noemi looked into his eyes and she saw a golden glow of fungus. And I'm like, oh.
I have a question. What did you think about Howard, like how his relationship with his kids, like he did not think of them as children. He thought of them as like bodies he could live in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how did you guys think of that? Because
not good.
I liked it for the aspect of the story. It's not good, like human to a human, but I thought it added to the atmosphere. It added to how creepy the whole situation was with the gloom and how like this was basically just a big factory so that this man could live forever. Mm-hmm. So I liked it. But
because they were calling him like a god, weren't they? They were like, he is a god. And like Florence was just like worshipping him, like by selling off her son. Be like, yeah, you can use his vessel. Because even Noemi was like, but that's your son. And she's like, yeah, but it's a vessel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, something I'm really curious about. Like, I wish I could like email the author and be like, I need some answers. But how like Howard moves to the next body, I'm just curious on like if they stay themselves, but like Howard's just in them, or like if he just completely takes over. Like I don't know. I never got that.
I think that was unclear, for sure.
I'm just really curious because like if we have Howard, like the person, I'm assuming there was a person before him. Like, is that person in him now? Like, I don't know.
Like, are they merged? Does he take completely over? Is like the other person like aware but trapped in their own body and they can't do anything? I think it would have been cool if she expanded on that.
I just really need to know because like that was something that would have been interesting to know. If it was like a conscious battle every day for like the body or whatever, it would have been interesting to know.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah,
I think there were a lot of unanswered things that happened in the book. I feel like I entered the book with questions regarding what I had heard, and I left the book with more questions. So I definitely feel like maybe at some point the author is going to have like a Q&A, and maybe she's going to answer these, hopefully, because I do feel like a lot of things could have been explained a little bit more so we could have understood what was happening, especially with the whole like fungi thing, because it was like until the end, like I don't know, I just feel like I wish we would have known a little bit more about it. I guess I'm just thinking like my mind as a fantasy reader and how everything is literally explained to like the last minimal detail. And maybe I shouldn't, but I guess as a first time reading a horror, I'm just like don't know how to analyze the book.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I don't think it has to be explicitly explained, but at least a little bit more heavily kind of implied and like described could be good.
Yeah.
This book could have used maybe another 50 pages to really fill it out.
Yeah, it's sometimes like a TV show. It's just fast tracked, and then you could have maybe have done with another series. Sometimes they do that with TV shows as well, because they're, I felt like that.
Like I don't think this book could have been too much longer. Its story isn't complicated enough, but it could have used another 30 or to 50 pages to kind of answer some of these questions that we still don't really understand.
Yeah, definitely. Do you think
would you say? Oh, sorry. You go.
You're okay. I was just going to ask everyone. Do you think you'll pick it up again? Would you reread? Maybe in a year, maybe a couple. Would you keep it on your shelf and maybe reread it?
I don't think so.
I probably wouldn't. Like, I think it's a good first time experience, but yeah, unless I completely forget what happened, then maybe. But yeah.
I very rarely reread anything, honestly.
Same. Okay, honestly, I would reread it if I had to like do an assignment where I had to like critique a book.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I feel like this would be it because there's just so much to talk about. Like, I feel like this would be such a good option, but like other than that, I probably wouldn't. Like, I'm not gonna lie.
I agree with that. I feel like it would be a good book to read in high school. Like every time that I was reading it, I just thought of like English literature, my senior year of high school. And I felt like I needed to message my teacher from high school and tell her like, you should read this book in your class. Like it will be good. I feel like it would bring a lot of conversation and like, I guess discussion.
Debate as well, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely like with the high school thing, I definitely feel like they need to bring more modern books in. Because I know like in my high school, we read a lot of like books that were published in like the 80s. And like that is so out of date. I feel like bringing in books like this would definitely get kids not only wanting to read, because high school
an idea that a book can't be good until it's old.
Yeah.
Really merit until it's older, and I don't understand that.
I had to write a whole paper not too long ago on like why we should stop letting like high schoolers read like Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, and I'm like, why are we letting kids read these old books? Like they don't want to read afterwards, and what are they teaching them? Bring newer books into schools. That's all I have to say.
Maybe create lifelong readers by having them read something that's actually kind of fun.
Like books in high school that I really enjoyed. Like, I cannot remember the author, but I read *I and the Cheese*, which was out of its mind. And I read *To Kill a Mockingbird*, but honestly, those are the only books in high school that I remember reading that I actually enjoyed. The rest of them were just terrible.
I have to say, *To Kill a Mockingbird* is on my December TBR, and I've never read it. So
It's a movie with it too. It's an old movie. It's like
yeah,
black and white, everything, but it's really good. It's a really good story. Definitely
Good.
teaches you some lessons.
good. I'm glad.
I really enjoyed it. *I Am the Cheese* is really good too. It's insane. It'll blow your mind, I promise. But yeah, never one of those things though, because I know in my high school they didn't push reading at all. They like gave you the recommended reads, and I don't have any friends who read near me, so it's like.
I
No,
think
I
that's
mean,
half the reason why we did this together is because sometimes you have to go online to find people who actually like to read for real. I feel like a lot of people like to read, but then you ask them the last book they read and it was like last year.
Yeah, 100%. I totally agree. I've one friend, part of my family, Colleen, and we would chat regularly about books and things. She's not a huge reader, but she knows enough for me to talk to her, if you understand. But that's the only person. I mean, my boyfriend here, Aaron, he's very happy to talk to me about books as well, but he's no clue. Let's be real. So, it's great to be able to. Oh, he's great.
I know that feeling.
But he's not a reader. He's got so many better qualities. But no, yeah, it's lovely to be able. I just love the book community because it's so positive all the time. Very rarely do you find someone who is creating drama, if that makes sense. Everybody has a common interest and loves to talk about books and watch YouTube about books, and it's fantastic. It's just opened up a whole new world to me, Definitely.
Right. And there's not very many people in the book community who are like, I absolutely hated this book. Like, don't read it. Like,
Yeah.
they'll be like, this is what I didn't like about this book, but like, read it at your own risk or whatever. Because I know books that I absolutely hated, but I'm not going to be like, never read it. Like, hate it. Because I don't know, everybody has their own reading taste. I know, like, I don't like a certain style of reading, but I know other people do. So I would never be like, don't read it. It's terrible.
I think the only book that comes to mind is I read the Kissing the Coronavirus.
Oh,
I don't know if y'all.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And for that one, do not read it. I did it just because I wanted to see what everyone was talking about. I shouldn't have.
6 months ago on like one of these book groups I'm part of on Facebook, and I was like, what is this? And I was so tempted to read it, and I was like, I don't know.
It was like 20 pages, so it was like super short.
I'm going to read it.
But no.
Shall we put it on to January?
Terrible people will read it.
No, I read it and I wanted to like throw up. It was just not good. Like, I just thinking about it, like I just want to pull that memory out of my brain and never think about it ever.
There are so many like very strange genre of books. Like paranormal romance is very weird for me. Like,
I love it.
I can't do
it. I was like, Nicole's channel has a lot of paranormal romance. It's like
yeah.
Every time I try to read it, I'm like, what is this? And then like I seen one on Goodreads the other day that was like a zombie romance, and I'm like,
I think I must try the wrong ones. Like earlier this year, I read Hush Hush. I did not like that book.
I had that on my TBR. I just haven't read it yet.
I love that book.
I love it. I love this. This is so cool. So cool.
This is hilarious. No, but yeah, I am more of like a fantasy reader. And in middle school, I read a lot of paranormal. But then in high school, I stopped. And now I'm back at it again.
When you were younger?
Hush Hush, yeah, when I was like
okay, I think that explains it. Like I read it as a 4-year-old. Like
no, then no. Yeah, in my video where I talk about Hush Hush, I do say how like I love the book, but it was because I read it when I was 13. So it holds like a special place in my heart. But I do say how I do not recommend it to people like that are not teenagers. Because I do feel like it's there's a lot of problems in that book, and I feel like a lot of YA paranormal romances are just very problematic and just something that maybe adults are gonna understand that you shouldn't be reading like those romances because they're toxic or whatnot. But as a teenager, you just like enjoy it. You're like, okay, whatever. But I do feel like if I hadn't read it in middle school, I would have felt completely different right now.
I think that's
Say,
young adult romance.
Nicole, I want you to pick a paranormal romance you think we'll like, and we'll read it. One that you think adults would like. That'd be
Yeah,
fun.
because I've never read any paranormal romances, so if I was a newbie beginner,
if she could prove me wrong that I don't like them.
Yeah.
I have to think about it because this is a very difficult question. So I'll get back to y'all because
yeah,
I don't know. It's very difficult to find like a paranormal romance that you might enjoy.
mm-hmm.
But I think I read mostly like YA paranormal romances. I'm trying to get into adult, but it's like I'm kind of new at it right now. But for YA paranormal, I think the Lux series by Jennifer L. Armentrout.
Okay, yeah.
She's the writer. She wrote From Blood and Ash. Like a lot of people have been talking about it recently.
Yeah, I read that last month. Enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah. So the Lux series, it follows some aliens, and you might be like, "What?" But it's very good. Like the whole plot is just it's very interesting what they do with the whole alien thing, and the romance is quite hot. Like it's so good. So I definitely feel like it's a good like a book and a good series. There are not total 5 books. Jennifer L. Armentrout is probably like one of my favorite authors. She's amazing. I just love her.
I agree.
Yeah, yeah. Very new to that author, but loved. Yeah, really interested to follow on the series as well after reading the first. So.
Yeah, I haven't read From Blood and Ash yet. I'm reading it.
No, I haven't, but I hear it's really good though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's quite a big book as well. I was like, whoa.
It's huge, but they say that it's an easy read, so
it is. It is definitely.
Maybe we should have it as one of our reads, like January, February, maybe.
Because you would really enjoy it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We could do it. We could host it in my channel. Like that's like my cup of tea.
You're just like,
yeah. We would just agree that today. Then we're doing that in January.
I can look into it. Sabrina, it seems like we're trying to say something for a while.
Nope.
Okay.
We just take over, don't we, Ollie? Just tell me to shut up, okay? I won't be offended. I promise.
Us English Irish people, United Kingdom,
we love to talk.
We like to talk,
Yeah, we're friendly people, aren't we? We're very friendly.
Yeah, no, not in America. Everyone's mean.
Oh no!
Not nice here. Come on.
You guys are so nice. No, you are so nice. No way. I don't believe that.
Cold. Everyone's bitter.
No, not at all. Not at all.
I'm just kidding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, Barbara, do you want to announce the December book?
Yeah, I'm excited. How do I feel? Are we excited?
Christmas book.
I'm excited.
I've got the book here with me. So it is going to be The Winter Garden, which was released in 2020 by Heidi Swain. And excitingly, Heidi is going to be joining us next month for the live chat. And she's going to have a giveaway, a signed copy, and some bookish merchandise to give away to a lucky viewer. So we'll work on that. But that's really exciting. Heidi is so excited. Like she's really, really excited. She's such a lovely, lovely woman. You'll just love her. She's fantastic. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. How is getting on with your copies of the book? Is everybody?
I got it. I've got it as an ebook to start with, anyway.
So mine is still coming in the mail. So I would probably say if anyone watches this and wants to join in December and you live in the United States, order your book now.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Buy it now.
Get it in time.
Yep.
And if you're worried, just get the ebook.
Yeah, I just have a feeling it's going to be a hug and a book. I just think it's going to be just nice and warm and cozy. And
the covers so pretty.
Yeah,
exactly. Horror pick this month.
Yeah,
it's a crazy book because that's like I have been reading like a Harlequin romance Christmas book. Like, I'm just so excited to have another one. Oh,
Good, I'm glad. I'm very excited for it, I have to say. So thanks for joining me on it. So yeah, I'm really excited.
And you got to have a Christmas book for December, let's be honest,
Yeah.
Shall we try and wear something Christmas themed, or like some tinsel or some lights on our hair or something for the live show?
That's really nice.
Christmas jumper, yeah, why not?
Yeah, we'll do something anyway.
Well, you've already got a tree up. You're like well in advance.
No, I've had mine up nearly 2 weeks now. Isn't that awful? Just been such a bad year for everyone. Yeah, I just want to just bring some sort of positivity into the house, So
after the year,
Down alone, I'm just not in that room. So
yeah. Cool. Okay, so I'm excited. So yes, more information to follow. But yeah, we're geared up. We're excited. Well,
and
I
that's
am.
like the last Sunday of December, 29th, did you say?
Yeah, I'm hoping for that. Yeah, I'm hoping for that. So Heidi's happy enough. If we're okay to agree the same time, that'd be great. If it suits everyone.
Happy for the same time, everyone?
Yeah.
Mhm.
that's good.
Yeah.
You're like,
Okay.
yeah, whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna obviously go out on the socials and see if we can get some guys to ask some questions for us. Pardon?
27th, right?
Oh, 27th, guys. What did I say? 27th?
I think we said 29th, but just
That's because
27th.
today's the 29th, that's why it is.
Yeah, no, 27th. Sorry, I didn't hear you right there. No, 27th of December.
Basically, the last Sunday of the December, basically.
Yeah. And we'll hopefully get some questions from our followers on Instagram and different places. So yeah, we'll have some questions for Heidi from us and from them. So yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So does anyone have anything to say on this book anymore? And then maybe we'll wrap it up.
I think we haven't been talking about the book for a while.
Yeah, could have done with a better ending.
Like overall.
Yeah, it was positive. I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. Yeah.
It was fun.
It was going out of my comfort zone, and I'm glad that I read it. I always like to read what other people are like reading. Like if it's quite popular this year, and it's on the Goodreads finalists for horror.
That's right.
So I voted for it anyway because it's the only horror I've read out of the list. So
It's not a good report, so. It's not for whatever you've read.
So yeah.
Okay.
All right.
So thank you, Sabrina. Yeah, thank you so much,
thank
Sabrina.
you.
Yeah, this was our first ever, so I'm just excited all the time. Can you tell?
I've been watching the book club for quite a minute, but like I've never I've seen a couple of people that have done it on YouTube, but not very many people have done it like in person. Or I see a lot of people do it in person, but not very many people do it on YouTube. So it's nice to have like people from all over the world come in like we are and like have all these different reviews and make new friends.
Yeah, that's the thing about the book community. You make new friends, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I have met a lot of very nice people through BookTube, and it's insane.
Yeah. Great.
All right. So
it was lovely.
Oh.
Yeah, it feels like it was a successful first time.
Yeah.
And without further ado, I think we'll wrap this up. So next one will be on Barb's on the 29th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
27th.
You guys
You're
are
okay.
29th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. I don't know what your time is. If you want to shout it,
yeah.
7 p.m.
All the details will be on the Twitter and stuff, so I'll make sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm happy to do that.
Absolutely. So. All right. Cool. So call this a day. See you guys in the next one or in the
And it's nice to see you. Bye.
Yeah.